Hi, welcome back. It's Nancy with Scathingly Brilliant Idea. Join me today as I get ready for my first Pelikan Hub. The Kansas City Pelikan Hub is going to be held along with the rest of the Pelikan Hubs around the world next Friday, the 24th. And I am going to ink up the Pelikan pens I'm going to be bringing. I'll show you what I have and what I'm going to ink them in, and give you a little update from what I learned from an email communication the Pelicans Perch sent out about this year's hub. So first off, these are my Pelikan pens that I own. I have an M400 in the Tortoiseshell. This was actually my husband's, and he's not using it anymore, so I grabbed it. It's a little small for my taste. That's why you see it's the only one in my collection that is this smaller size. This is my newest one. This is the M600 that I picked up from Pen Boutique recently. It was on sale even cheaper than Atlas. And so I picked this one up, and I already have this inked, but I'll give you a writing sample of it. There are a combination of different nibs I have on these. This is the Glauco Cambon, which I purchased last year from Atlas. I think it was during their sidewalk sale. They had a really good price on this. And this is the Special Art Collection. I'll give you some more details later. This is the M800 in the transparent green that I picked up last year, probably around Fountain Pen Day. Maybe it was Black Friday, I don't remember. I got this earlier this year from Atlas. This is the Souveran in the blue-black, and it's an M800 as well. And then this one I got this summer. It is the M1000 in black and gold. I purchased this from Endless Pen. They had a really good deal going during their big sales in the summer. So I'm going to ink these up and do a little writing sample at the end and tell you a little bit more about each pen. So let me put these kind of off to the side. On this M400 here, it is in a fine nib. There's been no additional work done to this. It's written fine, just off the bat. I didn't have any work done to this, although I've only really used it once since I acquired it from my husband. So the one thing about the Pelikans is the piston, oh, this one's a little bit stiff. You have to push down towards the nib so that when you turn it clockwise, it will pull up the ink. I've decided for this one, I'm going to ink it with the Sailor Kansas. The Kansas City metropolitan area, little fun fact, is actually the 5th largest by land in the country. And it covers 2 states and like 19 counties or something across those 2 states. And as a landmass goes, 14 counties. As a landmass goes, it is larger than either LA or Chicago or New York. Now, population-wise, it's not obviously as dense, so it doesn't, but I live on the Kansas side of the metro area, and this is plenty full for me. You can kind of see in this transparent, this is back when the bodies were transparent on the Silveron, and that's going to be plenty. So let me dry that off a little bit, and I will cap all of these and write with them all at once. The M600 I am not going to ink up because it's already inked, and I have this in my sample of the Kobe Antique Sepia. And this one is an extra fine nib. As you know, for those of you who have been in the fountain pen industry for a while or the community for a while, the Western nibs obviously write a little bit wider than the Asian counterparts. So an extra fine, I have the fine and then the extra fine over here. And then for the Glauco Cambon, I got this in a broad just to try it out. I haven't had it modified, but I know that a broad is open to a lot of modification potentials, but I've kind of kept this one as is just for the experience. And for this one, there are a lot of different color combinations in here you can pick up, and hopefully this light will do it some justice. You've got the reds and the oranges, greens, even some teal, blue, and of course the resin itself is black. So this really can be inked in about anything you want. And I'm choosing to use Birmingham Pen Co.'s Firebox today. So let me get that piston all the way down to the bottom. Turning to the left. This one's not quite as easy to see through. And then I will submerge this and then just ink it up as far as it will go. Now, if I didn't want to fill it very full, I wouldn't have to twist it all the way to the bottom. But because it takes a bit of ink to saturate the feed, I think that it'll be fine. I'll be writing with these pens for a little while. So that is the M600 Glauco Cambon, which was the art collection from last year. The M800 transparent green seemed to be on everybody's sale pockets last year, and I'm gonna just, well, this will be a good Christmas one to keep up on. This one has a medium nib in it, and I'm gonna ink that in another Birmingham Pen Company ink, the Combine Harvester. Growing up on a farm in Iowa, combine, this is the season for combines. And of course, everyone knows that John Deere tractors are the green tractors versus the other brands. We had both John Deere and International Harvester growing up. So this is Combine Harvester. The cap goes on the ink bottle, and this cap goes on the pen. Now this is another M800 that I got from Atlas this spring. They had a good deal going. You hear me say that a lot. Good deal. I guess I'm a sucker for a good deal. This one has an extra fine nib. So what did I say this one was? Oh, I didn't tell you all the deets on this. This one I got as a medium, but I had it modified into a cursive italic by Kirk Speer in one of the pen shows I went to this year. So this has been modified. So I basically got the full array between fine and broad, but that one has a modification. My favorite, I think, is probably the extra fine because these are good pens for extended writing, and that is a good, for me, that's a good nib size for extended writing. This I decided to ink in the Tassie Seasons Autumn Pepperberry. And this one is kind of a dark black, and I think it has a little bit of blue. You're going to see some dupes here because I like blue blacks. And I had my next pen I'll show you. I had to pick a Pelikan ink. So I've got this now in this pen, and I seem to be getting confused about what to put on next. Then the last pen is my M1000, and to be honest, I like the M800s. The M600s are okay. The M800s are probably my favorites, and then this is a real close favorite. It would be my favorite if it wasn't for the price, just because look at the size of that nib. And it is so fun to write with. Got a little bit of bounce, but they're so dang expensive. I really can't justify the price difference between. I mean, obviously there's a size difference too, and I'll show you. I'll lay these down for you before I ink it. I divert here, but see, there's a huge size difference between these two, not only in terms of the length, but also in terms of the nib size. Be careful about pulling these out. So you can see the difference, that huge step up you go in nib size between this 800 and the 1000 series. So this one I'm going to ink in just a traditional Pelikan ink, the Blue-Black. And I probably won't ink this up very fully. The bad thing about, I mean, these are relatively easy to clean, better than the back fillers, but I don't want to ink this up very much. So I didn't go all the way to the bottom, and then I'll close this up. And you can kind of see a little ink window. Maybe I didn't get very much in this one. I don't think I got very much in this one. Let me see if I can tip the bottle to submerge it a little bit better. So I told you I got an email from the Pelikan Perch, which is a newsletter related to Pelikan. It's independent of Pelikan, to my knowledge. Why does it not look like there's anything in there? Yeah, there's ink in there. And then he was the editor of that, or the person who wrote the blog post, indicated that there was going to be a shift this year. Now, this is my first year going, so I won't know any different. But Joshua said that there's going to be a change this year in that rather than featuring just the ink of the year, which has apparently been their tradition in the past, they will be sending mixed bottles to the different hub masters to distribute to the participants. I don't know what all that's about. I don't know if you get a full bottle or a sample from a bottle. It'd be a lot of bottles of ink if they gave a full bottle. But anyway, this year's ink of the year is Apricot Asha, and he said that in his post that Edelstein Tanzanite and Rose Quartz were reported as being received by others. But I thought it was important too. He pointed out some things that I think are important to consider for the community. It's that the spirit of the hubs, he says, has always been about connection, not commodities. The true gift of the event lies in the conversations, the friendships, and the shared appreciation for fine writing instruments, be they Pelikan or any other brand. And he concluded by saying Pelikan may be signaling that the event's continued success depends less on what's in the bag and more on who's in the room. And I thought that was fun. And that's definitely why I'm going. I'm relatively new to this, and I did not know that this was a thing. And I do not have any local meetups, at least none that I'm aware of. So this will be my first chance to connect with other people in the Kansas City metro area, and in an event like this, and I'd be interested in seeing how much interest there is in keeping something on a continuing basis. Let's do some writing samples with these. I'm using it's kind of hard to see, the Canopus notebook that I got from the San Francisco Yamamoto at the San Francisco Pen Show. This is like the hot new paper of the year, and I had done some writing on it initially with some of the pens I got at the pen show, but I thought I'd bring this out and use it for the Pelikan Hub pens that I'm bringing. I'm going to be bringing other pens too, but I am going to bring my entire Pelikan collection. I'm excited to see what other people have. Okay, we'll start off with the M400 Tortoiseshell. And this is in a fine nib, and it's inked with Sailor Kansas. Very appropriate for the Kansas City Pelikan Hub, I think. What a nice variation there. Moving up to the M600s. And this is in an extra fine nib. And it is Kobe, Kitano, Antique Sepia. I like that. Now for the Glauco Cambon. Another M600. And this is in a broad nib. I have Birmingham Pen Company's Firebox in this. And let's see what we get for line variation on this. I'll try reverse. A bit scratchy on the reverse side. Maybe if I do it higher. Ew, even worse. Moving up to the M800s. This one is the green Demonstrator. And this has a medium nib that I had Kirk Speer move, grind to a cursive smooth italic. And it has another BPC ink, Combine Harvester. I'm going to get some nice line variation in this because of the grind I had put on it. Nice. I haven't tried reverse on it. Oh, yeah, you can do reverse on this. It's not too terribly scratchy. It's a lot wetter than the broad. Another M800 here. This one is the black, blue-black M800. And this has another extra fine nib in it. And I have this Van Dieman's in it. Which is a really deep black blue. And the last, the grand of them all, the M1000. And you can probably see the difference when I started writing that, how it You can see a little bit of bounce on it. I love the feel of this nib and the size of it. This is just black with gold trim. And this is also in an extra fine nib. And I have Pelikan Blue-Black in this. Oh, look at that line variation. If you put just a little bit of pressure on it, it's not a flex nib, but I like how it's got that extra spring to its step. I'm not very happy with that, but it is what it is. I think I'll make it worse if I try to doctor it up. Okay, let me give you a close-up of each one of these. So you can see a sample of each one of those. A little bit of line variation. I may have something done to this broad at some point because I really like the effect of that Cursive Smooth Italic. These are great pens. I'm all set for the Pelikan Hub now. So are you going to a Pelikan Hub? If so, have fun. Bye.